person.
First in person. Loving this. Hey, cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers. This is the clap.
Whoa, that was aggressive.
Hello and welcome to the pod. I'm Tom Kennedy, joined by Chris Palumbo, Dan Loze, and Matt Carvalho. We are the Groovy Guys. This is Create Expectations, and today we are digging, spinning, gigging in person for the first time. Groovy Guys.
Yep.
This is amazing.
You're real?
Yes.
You're real people.
We're sitting next to each other.
Yeah, we've met before.
That's true.
I'm holding Lozier's hand.
You're ruining the bit.
We're real. Maybe you didn't know Matt was real.
You're ruining the bit.
I didn't know Matt was real, maybe.
It's true.
Until I met him for the first time.
Something about the Matrix. Okay, we're digging, spinning, gigging. We've had a great day.
Great day.
Unreal day, actually.
To all the groovers out there, we got together in London and we decided we'd have a little dig, spin, gig.
London,
Minus
England.
the spin and the gig. London, Ontario. So we're just gonna talk you through it. Let's kick off with digging. And we finally met Des.
Legendary Des.
The legend Des. He's known among London circles. He's got a little side hustle, selling records. So we went and had a dig. Matt, why don't you tell us about Des, set the scene, and then we can talk through today's dig.
Sure. So Des is like a legend in the London community for records, and apparently the rock world here in London, Ontario. If he's out and about and someone spots him, there are photos going up online, so it's pretty cool. Anyways, we went for a Saturday pickup. He normally sets up in his backyard. He's got a nice little setup back there with a little, what would you call it? Like a thermal lamp if it's too cold for people. He gets a fire going if it's, again, too cold. He's got tons of bins that you can just flip through. If you find something, he'll tell you the price and go from there.
But you can't, there's certain bins that are already earmarked for people. And we learned today that one of those bins, the whole thing was Matt's.
Yep.
I started digging through a bin. I just saw Matt Carvalho. I was like, oh, these are for you, Matt.
These are for
sale. Yeah.
But it's funny you say people want to take a photo with him. So I couldn't help but notice he was wearing a Sabbath shirt from the Never Say Die era.
Yeah.
So I said to him, Des, I think we might be wearing the same T-shirt.
And then Tom took his shirt off.
And then I took my...
And said, don't get undressed in front of me.
And turns out we're wearing the same Sabbath tour shirt. So, of course, we had to take a photo. But then he takes us to his lair.
Yeah.
His Sabbath vault and the memorabilia that he had.
It was cool.
Like the photo of him meeting Ozzy, the shirt that Ozzy was wearing that he threw into the mosh that Des had to fight for. But then let's talk about that box set.
The most epic box set ever.
Yeah.
The Ozzy Osbourne, all of Ozzy's catalog. It was called...
What was the name of it?
I forget what it was called, but it was
Wasn't
basically all of Ozzy's studio recordings in one box set.
Yeah.
And it had the coolest cover and then the augmented reality.
Yeah.
Des just pulls out his phone and if you are an Ozzy or a Sabbath fan and you haven't seen this box set, just Google Ozzy Osbourne box set. The augmented reality, it was bringing up videos of Ozzy singing. It was bringing up of the record on the front cover playing. Probably the coolest box set I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, that's honestly
Ozzy
one of the coolest things I've ever.
Yeah, Ozzy signed by Ozzy. The video of Ozzy signing
there's a certificate. It was really cool.
If you can find it, it's $2,500 basically.
Yeah, Ozzy coming out from the ground singing into a crucifix microphone.
So cool.
That was just
And
the best.
we need to point out, it didn't feel gimmicky.
Janky.
Yeah.
It wasn't janky. It was cool.
it was quality. The thickness of the box set.
It was legit.
Yeah, it was
so, and we all picked up, all but Dan picked up some records from Dez's.
Which is awesome, yeah.
Yep.
Chris got some Zeppelin, which is great because
Finally.
he's not a Zeppelin fan.
Yeah, but
apparently.
now
How many Zeppelin records do you have now?
3.
There you go.
I'm so proud of you.
Right? I'm getting there.
Which three?
I remember I
4.
have 3, 4, and then I can't remember the last one. I think it's just one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to say it's 1. But
So
3 and 4 is what I
4 essentials. So
3 and 4 are what I care about, honestly.
And then we took it to Grooves in London, which is another
staple
iconic
shop.
London record store.
Yeah.
We had a really good dig there. It is overwhelming. New and used vinyl. I was enamored with their punk and heavy metal section.
Yeah, they had quite a big punk. And
a
heavy
really
metal
good,
section.
Folk. The folk section.
Yeah, they had a good
folk
folk and country
section.
section.
New and
hip-hop was
old
good
school.
too.
Used jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Some
their
good
used
used
jazz
jazz.
was huge.
Hip hop singles, the used indie section.
Yeah.
Really great store if you can get it. We've got we did a reel from the day of digging, so you'll be able to check that out on the socials. Let's move it on down to spinning. It's the start of another year. Well, it's early in a new year, and we're always thinking about that album of the year episode. Everyone's been trying to listen to new music as hard as it is sometimes.
Yeah.
And
It's still early. It's still early in the year, right? So it's like
Yeah.
I don't feel a lot of stuff has been released, but I'm kind of keeping
everyone's keeping an
my
ear
eyes out
right?
for
And
what's being released.
trying
this
to think
year.
what do I need to add to my Spotify to start thinking about. Matt, I know you said you haven't been listening to a lot of new stuff.
Some stuff. I really like the new Green Day record, but mostly I've just been like picking an artist and like starting at the beginning of their discography and plowing through as much as I can in one day.
Nice.
That's
That's
cool.
I love that approach.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then I was saying to you, I had the three M's somehow. M and M. There's a new Ministry album. Don't listen to it when you're sad. That's good advice for whenever you're listening to Ministry. Or do.
Wait, is it sad music? Because I only listen to sad music when I'm sad.
Yes, okay. So you should listen.
We covered this
Yes,
in
that's
our-
true.
in our-
So you should listen to Ministry
our
when you're
Winter
sad.
Blues episode.
Ministry never leaves you feeling great about the world.
Okay.
But not much industrial music does. Mammal, Australian, kind of hard rock, bit funky. Chris, I think I said you'd probably like them. A little bit socio-political. They've got a new album, and Mildlife, another Australian band, kind of jazz fusion.
Nice.
Would recommend. And Chris, I know you've had a bit of looking back, not too far, but maybe back into 2023, thinking what might have been if you'd heard an album sooner.
Well, I did hear it. This is the worst part, and I didn't pay any attention to it. And I was so excited for it to come out.
What is
and it was Jeff Rosenstock's Hell Mode, and he released a couple songs, and I was so excited it came out. And then when it came out, it just kind of flew under my radar
Right.
because I was already listening to so much other things, and it just kind of got, you have your list, and it just got shuffled down on my list.
Yeah.
And then we recorded the episode, and literally a week later, it came on one of my like random playlists, and I was like, oh, and I haven't stopped listening
And
to it since.
I was surprised it wasn't your album of the year because I saw it on a lot of lists for album of the year.
Which is funny because this year was the year I went, I'm not looking at other people's albums of the year
Right.
because I don't want to be influenced.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
call.
And then you mentioned that again, and I was just
But
like,
it's right up your alley. Like,
it is. It's like,
obviously.
it's
Yeah.
so
It
good.
was a great record.
It is. And then I literally that week also called my local and was like, order this for me.
Nice.
And he's like, actually, people have been asking. So I think he
Great.
brought in a couple. So yeah, I don't know if it would have been my top. I don't know.
thereabouts.
It would have been in my top 5.
Yeah,
I think
awesome.
it would have shifted something out of there. But it definitely worth checking out. He's playing this week. Real upset I can't go and see it. So concert sold
he
out.
playing?
History.
Oh,
love
man.
that.
He would
Love
be
that
really
venue.
like that's the one for
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
need your
oh, yeah.
headphones, maybe
Your-
duct tape around your
Yeah.
ears. Because when I saw him at the Danforth, he like blasted, and that's not a very loud venue in my opinion compared to History.
Yeah, history's loud.
Yeah. Like last time we went, couldn't hear for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, after Big Wreck.
I had a very similar situation with you. Like I had listened to all of my top albums for 2023, and then big band that I'm always got my ear out for, Reservoir. They released an album like 2 or 3 weeks before we recorded that episode. Then I found it, haven't stopped listening to it. I had to get it on vinyl immediately. So that's kind of been kind of a mainstay that I'm always going back to. If you haven't listened to Reservoir, you guys got to check these guys out. If you're a fan of the band Whitney, it's the trumpet player from Whitney. Whitney's a very niche indie rock, indie folk band, but they're on the same label as Jamie Branch. That was in my top 5. They probably would have knocked, maybe not the best album of the year, but maybe knocked someone out of the top 5. But on top of that, it's like I went to Jamaica, so I listened to a ton of reggae.
of course.
Nice.
Leading up to that,
Love
it had an amazing reggae playlist for the trip. And so that's kind
That
of
playlist was pretty good.
It was really
I
good.
think you said that to us. It was really
a
good.
great. It was just like I just basically like did a research on like the essential
Yeah.
reggae albums, and that's all I put. That's all I put on there.
Beautiful.
And then a couple of the favorites that I do know. Had a big Jamiroquai kick for a week.
I found
couldn't
you an
stop-
album.
I couldn't stop listening to him, and I just music that it was just never really comes on my radar, but it just kind of
Jamiroquai's pretty sick.
yeah. And he's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like I have a friend who's just like an absolute massive fan, and I always think of him when I listen to it. But it's just like perfect dance.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun
If you're
to
in that
yeah.
mindset,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm going to Devo in May, and so I've just been crushing their discography because
Excellent.
I'm not super familiar with Devo. I just kind of know a lot of their bigger songs. But going through their discography and just learning about the lore of Devo,
which is
and
a big thing.
and
huge,
the
yeah.
de-evolution of humans into robots, I'm just so in love with it. So I'm just obviously getting super excited about that show.
I think they got a side gig with Green Day as well, a music project
Do they really?
called The Network.
I mean, I would be all over that, honestly.
Check it out.
That's cool.
Because Devo's like such a cool post-punk band, and
Yes.
so
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I've heard their shows are amazing, so I'm really, really stoked to see them live. And we're going to Chicago to go check them out, so it's going to be a really cool, cool place to go see them. So
Nice.
it's a show I'm really looking forward to.
Great,
Nice.
great segue into gigging.
Yeah.
Any others? Have you been to any since we last did one of these apps?
Well, I think that since the last time we went, we saw Cancer Bats do Bat Sabbath, which was epic.
Guys,
Like, and
Like
was
if they
in
do it
such a-
next year,
such a
like we're all
tight-
going. Is
we
that
should
what-
go.
Yeah,
We
such
should.
a tight little venue, and
maybe
just like
300 people.
Oh, that's really cool.
maybe 300 cap, and like being surrounded by a bunch of old
hardcore guys.
fans, and
Nice.
watching a hardcore band do Sabbath is like the perfect way.
But a hardcore band that's tight AF, have
Super
been
tight.
touring
Super
forever.
tight.
Brilliant musicians, but on top of that, you could tell how deeply they loved
oh, they love Sabbath.
the music.
Yeah.
Nice.
And like the crowd was so into
Yeah.
everything.
Oh,
That
yeah.
Sabbath was great fun.
Which is funny because Tom and I had gone to a Russian bathhouse prior to the show, and we went.
We had the yin and yang.
Yeah, we went with Alina and her friend Anna, and when we left, Alina and Anna were going home to watch TV, and they're like, "How could you possibly want to go to a concert?" And Tom and I were like, "I don't know," but as soon as you get there, the energy is enough to suck you in and to wake you up.
Well, it probably kicks you right off your ass.
Oh, it
too.
kicks you right off your ass.
Yeah. We
were
in it.
engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
we
guys
were,
moshed?
we were mosh adjacent.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were like right on the edge of the mosh pit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're sensible.
Like the
Yeah. So
perfect
not
spot
like
to
me
be.
and you at the chats.
No. We did
Nothing
not
like
get
that.
sucked into the mosh like at the Jets.
And then, like, aside from Cancer Bats, I think the only other gig I've been to since we've done one of these apps is Adam Baldwin, which
Nice.
Chris can talk about because Chris was there too.
Yeah,
we didn't
we-
even go together.
No, we didn't. We bumped
that
into
looked
each
like a
other.
cool show.
Yeah, we bumped into each other in the lobby for a beer after a quick text exchange going, "Hey, did you actually come?" And
Yeah,
then
are you
because it was
here?
a Friday night.
Quick beer.
Yeah, quick beer before the show. Yeah, it was at the First Ontario Performing Arts Center, not to be mixed up
It's
with the
Hamilton
first.
Place. It used to be called.
Yes, not to be mixed up with First Ontario Center, which is down the street, which a bunch of people went to, which is kind of funny.
Really?
my God,
But it's a
really?
theater. It's a beautiful old theater.
Yeah, they fixed up
theater
really
seating.
nicely.
Adam Baldwin had a baby grand piano and cut off plaid shirt.
It was golden.
Nice.
Perfect. And Alan Doyle was Alan Doyle.
Yeah, and
Exactly what you'd expect from the former frontman of Great Big Sea. And the beautiful, beautiful band which
Yeah.
is his backup band now that he's solo.
yeah,
Great show. A great kitchen party, you
Yes.
would say.
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
The only thing that could have been better is if there were no chairs and
Yes.
it was a much smaller venue.
Yeah, which I have seen. I've seen him multiple times, and that was by far. My wife looked at me and was like, "It was good. It sounded really nice, but it's not what
But
she
it's
want."
not like
It's not intimate
tearing
enough.
up a dance floor.
Right.
Yes, which the people around us, we were really lucky. Everyone danced and was really into it, except the
yeah.
guy directly next to me. Everyone else seemed to be. But
Like
I
really
kept
into
elbowing him, not on purpose, but like he was just not moving. So, but then I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those shows that I always struggle with. If you're gonna go to see a Newfie band, you might
You
as
got to
well
get into it.
Yeah, you have to
gotta
get
get
into it.
into
The front row didn't sit down the whole show.
No, and we were like 10 rows back. No,
Yeah.
maybe 15 rows back, and that made a huge difference. But yeah, definitely one of those. If they come back and a standing room, going again.
Nice.
And Matt, you haven't been to any gigs because you're old.
Yep.
And you have 2 kids.
I got 2 kids. No, I haven't been at anything recently, but we are talking about maybe going to see Kid Cudi in October. And what was the other one that came up? I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's maybe on the slate.
Right on.
For another DSG.
Yeah.
Yeah, save that for another DSG.
Yep.
And well, that's a nice quick and dirty.
Cool.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow us on Spotify. And till next time, keep digging and spinning.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Digging.
The Groovy Guys are Tom Kennedy, Dan Lozier, Chris Palumbo, and Matt Carvalho. With your host, Tom Kennedy. Music by Dan Lozier, post-production by Matt, and album art by Chris.